Good afternoon, viewers. You're watching the iAfrica Special Edition. Today's breaking news. The former Odlitu Sanasabili, Mr. John JCB Mendy, was arrested today as attempting to leave the country for Casamance in the southern region of Senegal through the Djibouti-Séliti crossing. John JCB Mendy appeared before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission on the 19th and 20th March 2019. Before the Truth Commission, he testified on many events, including the 11 November 1994 incident. Now, this information was revealed by the Ministry of Justice to media outlets. The Ministry of Justice wishes to inform the general public that it has requested the Gambia Police Force to arrest and detain Mr. John JCB Mendy, who was attempting to leave the country today, 2nd April 2019, for Casamance in the southern region of Senegal through the Djibouti-Séliti crossing. The public will recall that Mr. JCB Mendy appeared before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission (TRRC) on 19th and 20th March 2019 and testified about many events, including the 11 November 1994 incident. Based on a totality of the evidence adduced before the TRRC so far, and in light of other available evidence in the possession of the TRRC, it was evident that Mr. JCB Mendy was outrageously dishonest in his testimony about his role in several incidents of violence. Mr. Mendy's outrageous dishonesty in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary betrayed a lack of empathy towards the families of the victims and the unwillingness to cooperate and assist in the reconciliation process in the country. Consequently, the Attorney General, in order to encourage the truth-telling before the TRRC, strongly discouraged any attempts to deliberately conceal the truth in the face of mounting evidence, recommended the immediate dismissal of Mr. JCB Mendy, and requested the cooperation of his employees at the Gambia International Airlines (GIA) in this regard. The ministry wishes to reiterate its call for all witnesses who appear before the TRRC to be truthful at all times, especially in respect of their involvement in human rights violations and abuses. The country needs to establish the truth about these events, and the families of the victims deserve to know the truth about their loved ones. The perpetrators are particularly encouraged to be truthful and to take advantage of the amnesty provisions of the TRRC and give reconciliation a chance. The ministry would like to further reassure the general public that the TRRC process is not a witch hunt and that there is no need for anyone to abscond from the country, but that any attempts to deliberately conceal the truth in the face of overwhelming evidence will be regarded as an attempt to undermine the integrity of the process and an unwillingness to cooperate and assist in the reconciliation process, and will therefore be serious consequences. Meanwhile, the public will be informed about further developments of the JCB Mendy case as it unfolds. Our reporter Lamin Dabo, who has been closely monitoring the TRRC, is on the line. He'll actually join us later on in the show to give us a brief recap on JCB Mendy's testimony during the TRRC. Our viewers, that was a press release that we received from the Ministry of Justice that JCB Mendy was actually caught in the borders of Séliti Djibouti crossings as he was trying to leave the country. It has not been confirmed yet whether he was actually trying to abscond or whether he had another reason of leaving the country. We are hoping that we will receive more clear information before the end of the day. We'll go with a brief testimony of the TRRC that he held on the 20th and 19th.
You know, when you say he is beaten, you could confirm straight away that he is beaten. I cannot confirm straight away, really he was beaten. But I know of being rushed to him, confiscated the camera. We confiscated the camera.
You acknowledge that he was slapped? Yes?
I didn't acknowledge that.
You said he could have been beaten. He could have been slapped.
Yes.
You
but
also acknowledge. Easy. You also did not rule out that he was kicked.
Yeah, I didn't rule out that.
You also did not rule out that he was hit on his body.
Yes.
How do you call that in English?
Because it was a push and pull in the midst of the crowd.
No, Mr. Witness, easy. If somebody was hit, if the person was kicked, if the person was slapped, is that not beating the person?
If he is slapped and kicked and all those things, it's a beating.
If you cannot rule out that he was slapped, you cannot rule out that he was hit, you cannot rule out that he was kicked, it means you cannot rule out that he was beaten.
I cannot rule out that he was beaten.
And if you cannot rule out that he was beaten, what does that mean?
But what I'm telling you, I cannot confirm that he was beaten by somebody, because me, I didn't beat him. What I participated is confiscating the camera, destroying the film.
Yeah, you would never
but because it was in the midst of a crowd. If he is beaten, I would not know that he is beaten.
Mr. Witness, you are able to say that you cannot rule out that he was kicked.
Because he was in the middle of crowd.
It was only three of you.
It was a bunch of people. Remember a naming ceremony within the crowd of that nature. This is what I'm saying.
No, you told us that three of you jumped onto him.
In participation, what I'm saying, in the middle of crowd, we search on him, we get on him in the middle of crowd.
But the reports have it that this guy was mercilessly beaten by the orderlies of Sanasabali.
Okay.
Accept that?
Is what they told you.
No. Do you accept that?
I accept of what you told me.
That he was beaten?
That he was beaten. I accept what you told me.
As the truth?
I accept it.
That was a brief showcase of JCB Mendy's testimony at the TRRC on the 20th. On the line, I have lawyer Boch, iAfrica's legal contributor on legal matters. He'll be talking to us about the legal consequences concerning this case. Hello, Mr. Boch.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Hello.
Yes,
hello, Mr. Boch. Good afternoon.
Network again.
Hello, Mr. Boch. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm getting you.
Yes, as we received the press release this morning that JCB was caught at the border trying to leave the country. It has not been confirmed yet whether he was actually trying to abscond. But if in the case that he was actually trying to abscond, what would be the legal consequences?
Yeah, I think it's a demonstration of his guilt, because otherwise he has no reason to flee the jurisdiction of this country, of the court and the TRRC. But the order has already been made for his arrest, and as per the press release that have been released today, the Minister of Justice has powers to make regulations for the effective implementation of the TRRC Act. So I think that is the reason why he requested for police assistance to get him arrested.
So what would be the consequences if he is found guilty in this case?
Well, you have to know the offense for which he is charged, because as far as I know, when a witness testifies on oath, he commits an offense of perjury, or if he fabricates evidence, that is an offense of fabricating evidence. So his arrest will likely come under the criminal code. But just as we discussed the last time, it's not easy to get a witness arrested under the Act, because the TRRC itself does not have those powers. So the powers for his arrest and his prosecution will come under the general law, that is the criminal code.
Okay, so you're saying right now that the possibility of JCB facing legal consequences is very minimal, that he could actually go free before the TRRC can complete its work and make recommendations.
Yes, if he did not make an attempt to flee the jurisdiction. Because, we have to distinguish between the TRRC Act and the Criminal Code. The Act deals with witnesses. They have protection for witnesses. And he would have been protected from civil or criminal proceedings for disclosing human rights violations or abuses. So he is protected under that section of the Act. But under the general law, he has exposed himself when either as alleged that he fabricated evidence or he lied before the commission. So he has escaped from one part and then fall into another part of the law.
Okay. In the press, we read that the TRRC actually has some substantial evidence against JCB. Is it possible for the TRRC to hand over such an evidence to another judicial body in order to prosecute JCB?
Yes, there is no law prohibiting the TRRC from arresting or prosecuting anyone who commits an offense under the general law. That is the Criminal Code, because that applies to all citizens, including JCB, because the language of the Criminal Code is any person who does this, who lies before a judicial proceeding, who fabricates evidence. So he has committed an offense under that act, and generally the state is the one responsible for his prosecution, and that is different from the act itself.
But does he actually need the permission from the TRRC to leave the country, to be able to leave the country?
Well, he does not need permission from the commission to leave the jurisdiction. But as it is just like a witness who is fleeing from the jurisdiction to run away from criminal liability and criminal prosecution. It is apparent from his conduct.
Sir, would it be correct to say that the TRRC overlooked did not see this coming? In a sense, shouldn't they have foreseen this by giving restrictions to people that have actually been mentioned in the ongoing hearings?
Protection, yes, if it is requested by a witness who is in danger. But this, I don't think he is the situation here. He is not exposed to any danger. I don't know yet. But if he is exposed to any risk of attack or assault or injury, he should have reported to the TRRC. That will provide him protection.
Okay, so the TRRC actually feels that JCB Mendy hasn't responded in a very honest manner with regards to compared to the evidence that they've gathered so far against him. Could that be a reason for them to arrange an arrest of him?
You see, as it is now, the law, like I said, we have two sets of laws that are applicable in this case. One is the TRRC Act, where the minister is empowered by the Act under Section 37 to make regulations for the effective implementation of the Act. That is the TRRC Act. Okay? So that gives the minister powers to do anything that is legal to make sure that the smooth running of the TRRC, that is the commission. Because if he is allowed to flee the jurisdiction, others will follow him. And then that will jeopardize certainly the reason for the establishment of the commission. Because if he is allowed to go, others will follow him. So that is the danger why he has to be arrested and then brought before the court.
Already there are criticisms going on, especially on social media, that the TRRC with the Ministry of Justice is putting in strict rules that might discourage other witnesses from coming to hearings.
Yeah, not actually discouraging other witnesses. It's protecting not only the full implementation of the act, but the interest of the country as well. This is an issue of national interest. And if one person tries to flee the jurisdiction and he is not stopped, surely others will follow. Even those witnesses who have not yet testified will find that, wow, there's a way out for me now, so let me go out before I will appear before the commission. But if he had not made an attempt to flee the jurisdiction, he would not have been arrested.
Yes, but what does the criminal code actually say about somebody who is actually undergoing investigations with regards to crimes as big as those that have been mentioned in the TRRC fleeing the country? What does the criminal code say about that?
Yeah, you know, the Constitution will take precedence in this case because there's a presumption of innocence for every person who is arrested to be treated as a suspect. And the police have to investigate first and know the reason why he is fleeing the jurisdiction, and they have to investigate to know if he has lied before the commission and also if he has fabricated any evidence or concealed any evidence before the commission. That is a matter of investigation, and the evidence that will be brought forward will determine his liability.
We understand from the press release read that the Ministry of Justice actually recommended the dismissal of JCB Mendy from Gambia in GIA. Yeah,
you know, we had
do they have the right to do so?
On that. That is not to prejudice them because the Act has made provision for protection of witnesses, like I said earlier. They have to take measures to ensure the safety, anonymity, confidentiality of witnesses, and they also have to take appropriate measures for witnesses, especially children, and other reasons to protect witnesses from civil and criminal proceedings for disclosing any evidence before the commission. So the reason why the Attorney General or the Ministry of Justice will recommend for his termination will all depend on the circumstances of his case. And not only the TRRC, like I said, but the general law. So probably his arrest would have come under the criminal code and not under the Act.
The ministry actually recommending the dismissal of JCB from GIA could actually be could actually reduce the moral boosting of the upcoming witnesses.
Yeah, it depends on the facts and circumstances. You know, no two cases are the same. They are similar but not the same. So it depends. The reason for the recommendation for his termination is largely based on his attempt to flee the jurisdiction. I believe so. And it may also be prompted by the fact that he has been dodgy and he has lied before the commission and he has given false information to the commission and he has fabricated evidence. All these are offenses under the criminal code.
Legal wise, what will be the fate? What will be JCB Mendy's fate as of now, if he's actually found guilty?
For now, he is a suspect. It has to be investigated, and the evidence will be gathered, and then he will be charged if the evidence discloses any offense, and then he will be tried. And if he is convicted, then certainly the law will take its course.
But as of now, and for now, he is still a free man, right?
As of now, he is a suspect.
Okay. But will he be under? Is it required for him to be under tough surveillance?
Yeah, the Constitution will apply again. If any person is arrested, he must be given reasons for his arrest, and he has to be arraigned before the court within 72 hours. And I'm sure that the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice will ensure compliance with the Constitution.
All right. Thank you very much, Lawyer Bush. Thanks for always contributing with regards to legal
Thank you very much. You are welcome.
Pleasure. We now continue with a short review of JCB Mendy's testimony.
You know, when you say he is beaten, you could confirm straight away that he is beaten. I cannot confirm straight away, really he was beaten. But I know of being rushed to him, confiscated the camera. We confiscated the camera.
You acknowledge that he was slapped? Yes?
I didn't acknowledge that.
You said he could have been beaten. He could have been slapped.
Yes.
You
but
also acknowledge. Easy. You also did not rule out that he was kicked.
Yeah, I didn't rule out that.
You also did not rule out that he was hit on his body.
Yes.
How do you call that in English?
Because it was a push and pull in the midst of the crowd.
No, Mr. Witness, easy. If somebody was hit, if the person was kicked, if the person was slapped, is that not beating the person?
If he is slapped and kicked and all those things, it's a beating.
If you cannot rule out that he was slapped, you cannot rule out that he was hit, you cannot rule out that he was kicked, it means you cannot rule out that he was beaten.
I cannot rule out that he was beaten.
And if you cannot rule out that he was beaten, what does that mean?
But what I'm telling you, I cannot confirm that he was beaten by somebody because me, I didn't beat him. What I participated is confiscating the camera, destroying the film.
Yeah, you would never admit...
Because it was in the midst of a crowd. If he is beaten, I would not know that he is beaten.
Mr. Witness, you are able to say that you cannot rule out that he was kicked.
Because he was in the middle of crowd.
It was only three of you.
It was a bunch of people. Remember a naming ceremony within the crowd of that nature. This is what I'm saying.
No, you told us that three of you jumped onto him.
In participation, what I'm saying, in the middle of crowd, we search on him, we get on him in the middle of crowd.
But the reports have it that this guy was mercilessly beaten by the orderlies of Sanasabali.
Okay.
Accept that?
Is what they told you.
No. Do you accept that?
I accept of what you told me.
That he was beaten?
That he was beaten. I accept what you told me.
As the truth?
I accept it.
Because it is true.
It is true. If it is true, then I accept it.
We asking you. You are the one
no,
testifying.
I'm telling you I didn't. And you are telling me that they told you this. I accept it.
No, I told you that reports have it that the person was mercilessly beaten. Are you acknowledging that fact? Or you still deny that he was beaten?
I am telling you that I didn't know whether he was beaten. So you said the report says this. I accept that the report said this.
Mr. Witness, are you still trying to extricate yourself from responsibility for the beating of this photographer?
That was the defiant JCB Mendy there versus lead counsel on a tough push and pull, actually. He actually seems very confident on his testimony. On the line, I have Lamin Dabo, a reporter who has been closely monitoring the TRRC, who will give us a quick recap on the day's testimony. Hello, Lamin.
Yeah,
good afternoon,
hello.
Lamin.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. Lamin, as a close monitor of the TRRC, we understand that you are very conversant with the testimonies that have actually took place during the TRRC sittings. Could you actually give us a brief recap on what actually happened on the day JCB Mendy gave his testimony?
Well, Fatmata, this take us to the Monday, 18th of March, 2019. JCB Mendy, by nickname, his full names are John Charles B. Mendy. And he said to be a man who was born in Tujerem village on the 1st of the month of May, 1972. So he said he come from the Tujerem, Combo South district, and he went to Tujerem Primary School from 1981 to 1985. And later he went for St. Teresa's Secondary Technical School from 1986 to 1990. And then he joined the Gambia National Army as intake 15 on the 27th of January 1991. According to his testimony on this very day, which was on the 18th of March 2019, he said 2019, he said that, he has attended 4 months training as a recruit. And then as a private soldier, he was employed at the Yundum Barracks on the Bravo Company, where his senior, the person who was leading the company, was Captain Johnson. So a lot of things have happened with regards to the testimony that he gave at the commission on that particular day. There were a series of debates and also push and pull on the side of the way JCB Mendy was trying to give his evidence or testimony in front of the commission. And there came at a time when there was that form of argument which transpired between him and then the late counsel, Esa Mbai Fall, who was trying to put to him that it is not part of the expectation from witness who are to testify under the TRRC to lie, in giving out their evidence to the commission. And there was a special incident which was mentioned as part of the heated debate. That was when JCB Mendy claimed that when they were coming from Sana Sabali's naming ceremony around Abuko, they are able to come across one driver who failed to leave the traffic for the convoy of the then Vice Chairman Sana Sabali to pass. And JCB Mendy had denied that the individual who was involved at that particular time, he denied that the person was beaten, but he came up by saying that his appearance showed that he was roughly handled. And Esam Baifal, being the late counsel of the day, did question him that, roughly handled, what does that entail? Does it mean that the man has been tortured? Because there has been some testimonies from people who stated that the individual was seriously beaten. But JCB Mendy was reluctant in order to clear that air with regards to the man being tortured by some of the oddities of Sana Sabali and of whom he was also part of. So it's like his testimony on that particular day, there were a lot of lapses that people were able to detect. Because what they saw was that JCB is trying to avoid being taking part in certain incidents and also being individuals who have committed those atrocities by torturing people as part of their deeds as oddities to Sana Sabali. So it was basically centered on the area of giving evidence which was not seen as satisfactory to the side of the commission.
Lamin, we understand that his testimony was actually shifted to the next day. Could you compare the first and the second day? What was the difference in JCB Mendy's testimony?
Well, the testimony being 2 days, the first day one can rate it as a bitter liquid, which is not easy for one to swallow. Means that there were too much, deviation by JCB Mendy on the first day. But on the second day, which happens to be Tuesday, he was able to at least confirm and also attest to certain involvement in terms of activities which were conducted by him and his allies who were oddlies. It's like his second day testimony was a little bit fair than the first day.
How would you compare JCB's testimony with other witnesses that have actually passed through the TRRC?
Well,
some incidents
JCB,
that
I can say is part of the triangle with regards to witness at the TRRC.
Yes,
That
especially
triangle
witnesses who have
formation there
actually
is
confirmed that he was
is-
present in some incidents.
Yes, with regards to that, through narration from individuals who were seen as part of the list of perpetrators, JCB Mendy's testimony is among the unsatisfactory testimonies with regards to TRRC. I can say he also forms a team with people, the medic called Lamin Koli, who also was said to be involved as the person whose bullet led to the death of Fafanyang. There is that sort of triangle formation. It's like JCB Mendy's testimonies together also with the testimonies from Lamin Koli, I can say on the side of the military, and that of the other soldier who also appeared just last week. There is also another Mendy, and it was not definitely helpful because they were deviating away from the actual mandate of the TRRC, which means that one should narrate things which are based on truth and nothing but the truth. But it seems that they explained in order to cover up some of the ashes that led to their fire with the set.
All right, thank you very much, Lamin Dabo, for joining us. It was a pleasure having you with me here. Viewers, that was Lamin Dabo giving us a brief recap of what actually happened the day JCB was giving his testimony at the TRRC. Well, that's all we have with regards to the release. We will update you accordingly if any developments are received. Thank you very much. Before I leave, I'd like to read once again to you the release that we received from the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice wishes to inform the general public that it has requested the Gambia Police Force to arrest and detain Mr. John JCB Mendy, who was attempting to leave the country today, 2nd April 2019. For Casamance in the southern region of Senegal through the Djibouti-Siliti border crossing. The public will recall that Mr. JCB Mendy appeared before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission on the 19th and 20th March 2019 and a totality of the evidence adduced of the TRRC. It was evident that Mr. JCB Mendy was outrageously dishonest in his testimony about his role in several incidents of violence. Mr. Mendy's outrageous dishonesty in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary betrayed a lack of empathy towards the families of the victims and the unwillingness to cooperate and assist in the reconciliation process in the country. Consequently, the Attorney General, in order to encourage the truth-telling before the TRRC and strongly discourage any attempts to deliberately conceal the truth in the face of mounting evidence, recommended the immediate dismissal of Mr. JCB Mendy and requested the cooperation of his employers at the Gambia International Airlines GIA in this regard. The Ministry wishes to reiterate its call for all witnesses who appear before the TRRC to be truthful at all times, especially in respect of their involvement in human rights violations and abuses. The country needs to establish the truth about these events, and the families of the victims deserve to know the truth about their loved ones. The perpetrators are particularly encouraged to be truthful and to take advantage of the amnesty provisions at the TRRC and give reconciliation a chance. The ministry would like to further reassure the general public that the TRRC process is not a witch hunt and that there is no need for anyone to abscond from the country, but that any attempts to deliberately conceal the truth in the face of overwhelming evidence will be regarded as an attempt to undermine the integrity of the process and an unwillingness to cooperate and assist in the reconciliation process, and will therefore be serious consequences. Meanwhile, the public will be informed about further developments in the JCB Mendy case as it unfolds. Thank you very much for joining us.
They said, okay, they will call the president. Whether they call the president, they don't call the president, we sat there for around after 6, 7, no response. I give up because I'm not the only one. We all joined the same vehicle, drop us at mile 2. We spend the night at mile 2.
On this day, when you were taken to the NIA, were you interrogated?
The first day, no.
Do you know whether anybody was being interrogated in connection with Sana Sabali's arrest?
The first day, no.
So, did you have occasion to go back to the NIA?
Yes, the following day.
Can you tell us what happened?
We went back there and I was interrogated.
Do you know by who?
No, I don't, because I don't know the NIA officials. Because they will not tell you that I am Mr. So-and-so. They will just come and then start interrogating you.
Yes, go ahead.
They interrogated me. They interrogated me and they were trying to threaten me that they were going to use the machines over me. I told them that the first person to come with that machines, I prefer to die with that individual because I haven't done anything, and yet still I am not told what I have done warrant me to come here every day. So they said I am not prepared to be cooperative. Then they sent me back to the hall. I was at the hall in the evening, they take us back.
So you threatened them into submission. They didn't do anything to you?
No, it's fine. Maybe you see it as threat, but that is what was in me, because at that day I was fed up and even ready to die at that instant.
And how about the others? What happened to them?
The others were interrogated.
And did they use the machines on them?
Not up to my knowledge.
Did you notice or learn about anybody being maltreated at the NIA at that time?
Yes.
Can you tell us about it?
That is Barakatu Koli.
Who is Barakatu Koli?
The wife of Sana Sabali.
What happened to her?
I heard her yelling, crying.
You heard her yelling?
Yeah, yelling. Sorry, I heard her yelling, crying.
How do you know it was Barakatu Koli?
I know Barakatu Koli because we were together for so long.
Mm-hmm. And what was she saying in her
She was saying in local language, in Wolof and Mandinka, Yendagen Marai, Albem Fala, Albem Fala, Albem Massimo, Albem Fala, Lola Donwa.
Did you come to know what was happening to her, what they were doing to her?
I reached at a conclusion that he was being tortured.
How far was she? How far away was she
it's
from
almost
where
about
you
maybe
were?
an office or two. An office was in between me and her.
Did you hear her clearly?
Very well.
And you knew without a doubt that it was her?
It was her, because at the end of her interrogation, she was brought and then passed through my office. The office that I was, there was a glass, so I saw her. So I made a conclusion that it was her. And I recognized her voice.
In which condition did you observe her to be in as she was passing?
like somebody who is being maltreated, but she was able to walk freely on her own. You could see her, her tears rolling on her eyes.
Apart from her, do you know whether anybody else was tortured at the NIA on that day?
No, no.
How about your colleagues?
No, I didn't know whether they are tortured.
So that day, after your interrogation, and you threatened the guys, what happened afterwards?
No, I said I was returned to where the men are.
What happened after that?
After that, we are taken back to Mile 2 again.
For how long did you remain at the NIA on that day?
The whole day.
Okay, so you returned back to Mile 2?
Yes.
And what happened after that?
They sometimes jump, and anybody that they need to interrogate, they will just bring that individual. But I know I went there more with Njai, Babukar, I don't know with who, but few of us went more than others. They stayed in Mile 2.
Was any of you tortured at the NIA?
I don't know of others, but personally, me, I have never been tortured.
Good.
I have never been tortured.
Well, lucky you, seeing poor Barakato and what happened to her,
I have not been tortured.
Yes. So, how about at Mile 2?
Same thing at Mile 2. I have never been tortured except the living conditions in Mile 2.
Have you heard about a team coming from NIA and State House to bring out Sana Sabali and his orderlies to torture them?
Those are hearsay that I used to hear.
But wouldn't it be strange that all these people were gathered at Mile 2 and tortured, and nothing happened to you?
It's strange to you, but nothing happened to me.
It's not strange to you?
It's not strange to me. It's nothing happened to me. It's maybe I am lucky, not being tortured, but nobody, even an ant didn't climb on me.
But the rats did at Mile 2.
Those are my friends. So I term them as human beings.
Good. So, and you remained at Mile 2 for how long?
641 days.
And what were the conditions at Mile 2?
Horrible.
Can you explain further?
You sleep on a piece of a plank wood like this. By the first days that we were there, we don't have blankets. All our uniform jackets were taken. You only remain with a singlet. Our trousers, all the robes and everything were taken off. Even socks are taken off from us. And you sleep, it's an open hall, about maybe about maybe 4 meters square, 3 meters square.
Where were you kept at Mile 2 prisons?
At the remand wing side.
When you got there, were you processed in any way?
Where?
Were you processed in any way? Were your details taken?
Yes.
Did they tell you what offense you committed?
No.
Were you allowed a lawyer?
No.
Were you formally charged with an offense?
No.
Were you taken before any court?
No.
Were you prosecuted at all?
No.
Court-martial?
No.
So what happened? You remained there for 641 days.
641 days, that is 18 months.
Yes.
No, that is 21 months. 1 year, 8 months. No, I think, yeah, 18 months also.
21 months, yeah.
Yeah, I think 81 months, 18 months. So I like that. But it's 641 days.
How do you know that? Counted the days.
Let me tell you, if you enter in that place, the number one thing that you do is to count the number of days that you are. You have to have a place where every day you mark, every day you mark, every day you mark. All prisoners does that.
So, and how did you come to be released? Do you know?
No, I didn't know.
You were just asked to come out one day.
Yeah, but there are instances we thought a release is going to happen that day. I don't know whether it's always a call that is being made to cancel it or not, because there is a type of vehicle, when anytime we see that vehicle, we know the vehicle brought in somebody to be detained or to release somebody. That is GNA 110. It was a van. That van was very much popular within the detainees, the military detainees. We know that van. So sometimes you will see the van adjacent to the office of the prison commander, who will start calling each other. The van is here. We don't know. The van is here. But when we see the van turn and go, it seems like, you know, you pour cold water on everybody, because everybody was anticipating to go home. Because not all of us who were falsely detained still up to that day.
Say again, all of us who were?
All of us who were first detained remain in mile 2 up to those dates, I'm telling you, because some were released so early. So I was only the one who was left there is me, Lama, Njai, Zakaria Dabo. No, I think Zakaria. But we are among the last one to be released.
So you told us about how you were taken into mile 2.
Yes.
You told us about the beds, the rats were your friends. So tell us about the food and other conditions.
The food condition, even if I have a dog, I will not give that food to that dog. Especially the so-called cherry they always cooked at night for night meal. You know, I don't know how do they call dofe. I don't know how do they.
Dofeng? In Mandinka?
That is in Mandinka. In English, I'm trying to say.
Is it choch? I don't know.
Choch is in Wolof.
Yeah, that's chaff.
That one.
Chaff is the same as choch. Yeah.
When they pound these millets, kus or so, they will just try to wash it small, and then they cook everything like that. They put everything like that. By the time they come, they will just serve you that food. They bring in, it's just almost water. The first 5 people to start that is the people that enjoy the good stew. But after that, everything is just water. When they put their cup in it and then pour it in your plate, you could see that these things are all this dofe on top of it. You see people eating it like that. There is no other means.
You remember all the details?
At that time.
But the other details about the execution at the forest, you don't remember at all?
Those, what I am telling you, I am at one place at my own time.
No, you seem to remember your own victimization very well, but the victimization of other people, You have only a scanty recollection.
My victimization, I didn't take it as a victimization because it is just a simple one. It's a simple one. I am just brought and then kept on one place. And that place, every day I am with that place until 641 days is the same routine. I will remember it, of course. 641 days on the same thing, the same routine, the same food, the same... I will remember that.
Okay, after 641 days.
Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country...
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations,